Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Do you know about sexual harassment? Or do you know what are the forms of the sexual harassment? Or have you ever experienced or see a sexual harassment that is going on in your society? Today, I would like to talk about WMU medical student knowledge about forms of sexual harassment. First, first of all, I will start with that sexual harassment is a form of differentiation from the verb to harass, which means to humiliate, look down, or ignoring. Also, based on the Women's Commission, sexual harassment refers to act of a sexual nature conveyed through a physical and non-physical contact, targeting a person's sexual body or sexuality. Sexual harassment can happen both of men and also women. There is some research about experience and knowledge of sexual harassment, but the respondents are too many and the range is too broad, so the results are not very specific. It doesn't include every university in the West Java, and the respondent is like 133, and I think it's not very specific to get to know well about their experience and their knowledge about the sexual harassment. Alright, I'm making this research paper by come up with two research questions. The first one is how far the knowledge of UMJ medical student about sexual harassment. The second one is how are the students react or handle when they experience sexual harassment. Alright, before we get deeper in this topic, I will start with definition and forms of sexual harassment. Sexual harassment itself can be interpreted as an action or behavior that are oriented or lead to things that have a sexual connotation. It can be in the form of joke or vulgar utterance that are vulgar, filthy, making certain gestures that lead to verbal and non-verbal sexual activity. Based on National Commission on Violence Against Women, recognized 14 forms of sexual harassment. The first one is rape, sexual abuse, sexual exploitation, sexual torture, sex slavery, sexual intimidation or assault, including intimidation and attempt to rape, forced prostitution, forced pregnancy, forced abortion, forced marriage, trafficking of women for sexual purpose, sexual management include forced dressing, punishment is inhuman and has suitable sexual difference, traditional sexual activity that can be hurt for a woman or a man. Alright, I'm making this research paper using quantitative method, and the quantitative method that I use is a yes or no question, the open-ended question, and the multiple choice. Survey data was collected via an online questionnaire using a Google form. Alright, the second one is the result of the questionnaire. In this part, I will explain and talk about the result for my questionnaire. The first question is, what do you know about sexual harassment? Most of the respondents think that sexual harassment is an activity or a word of verb that lead to a sexual thing that is forced to the victim. Okay, the second question is, what are the forms of sexual harassment? Most of the respondents think that sexual harassment is a rape, sexual exploitation, touching, taking picture without permission, harassment, touch body or sensitive area on purpose, catcalling or verbally abuse, and also human trafficking. By seeing this chart or seeing this table, I think most of the respondents know well about the forms of sexual harassment. They just need to know a little bit more about the forms of sexual harassment. The third question is, how do you respond to sexual harassment that often occurs in your environment? Most of the respondent is very concerned, very sad, and they think it must be stopped. And they also think that it can happen both on women and also men. And also, they are really sorry for what happening to the victim. Okay, the fourth question is, how do you react to a sexual harassment that often occurs in your environment? They say that they're angry, they're sad, and also they think that it's need to stop, and also many cases about sexual harassment make them scared because they're scared to be the victim of one of the sexual harassment, and also they think they empathize with the victim so that the victim does not feel afraid and dares to speak up to the public. All right, the last type is a multiple choice. In this question, I gave a question about the forms of sexual harassment, and the percentage is really amazing because I think most of the respondents know well or understand the forms of sexual harassment. It could be seen in this table that the presentation is really good, but this number must be upgraded and maintained because this is one of the proof, one of the prevent of the sexual harassment itself. Okay, based on the result that we get, we can see that the first one is when your medical students have a good knowledge about the form of sexual harassment, you could see that they know what is include or not include in the form of sexual harassment, and they also know what is the differences between uh, two of them. And also, when the medical students have a good care for victims of sexual harassment, and they already know what to do if there's sexual harassment around them. Okay, for the conclusion, it was proven that the knowledge of OMD medical student is quite good, and the study is confirmed that increasing understanding of the form of sexual harassment can prevent and reduce the number of sexual harassment that occurs. And the third one is also based on this research. If someone wants to do another research about this topic, the researcher can add to the experience of the respondent on sexual harassment and to make it more clear about their perspective of sexual harassment. Maybe that is from me. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.